Welcome to the SCORE Business Showcase. We have another event for us to participate in, and we have with us Darwin Lara, and also my co-host, can't forget her, Marianne Coche.
Hello, glad to be here.
Glad to have you. Matter of fact, while you're with us, Marianne, would you go over what we do at SCORE, how we actually help
Absolutely. I
businesses?
love talking about SCORE. So, SCORE is a free business resource. Business challenges are real, so don't go it alone. SCORE provides mentoring, online training, and webinars. Also, templates and guides, frequently asked questions are available. Regardless of your stage of business, there's something for every small business owner or entrepreneur at SCORE.
Thank you. Now, Darwin, how did you actually decide to actually get into this industry or field that you're in today?
Well, Steve, first and foremost, it's funny because although at my early age, I like computers, I was interested in computers. I always wanted to have a Macintosh when I was a little kid, and I didn't realize how much it cost. So when I started going to junior college, I actually studied computer programming. But then I realized that I didn't want to get stuck just programming computers, and I said I actually wanted to own some type of computer business. I didn't exactly know what it was, and I went ahead and studied business, and finally, with being in UB, something clicked. Something said to me, you know what, this is the best thing for me to do now, because everything was going to it was going to be some type of computer connections. So I said, I'm gonna do this now, and it was more like it took me there. It drove me there. So it was no matter how much I trying to do something else, I was end up going to do computer. So that's how I started in the industry.
Now, you were in an entrepreneurial program, correct, that you were working with SCORE? Yeah.
Absolutely, and funny because that's exactly where the idea came about. That's exactly in that room that we used to work
Yes.
in those meetings that we used to have. That's when the name EvoCorp came about.
Aha.
That's where it came about. So I used to talk to some of my team members about it, and they were like, "What is that? What is that?" I said, one day you'll find out.
So, Darwin, what does EvoCorp do?
So what do we do? We provide solutions for cybersecurity, and I'm also a MSP provider. So basically, what I do is I manage, I service, and I provide any technical assistance for small businesses, like could be medical office, CPA, alternatives, and schools, even charter school. I recently contacted a charter school in order for them to help them, but basically that's what we do.
Now, what led you down this path?
I'm very curious, and I like to fix problems. I think I also my family. I have a cousin who is really close to me. He's like my brother. He is into protecting and services the military. He does. He has a school where he trains high officials in the government and police to protect themselves and to protect people in their companies. But he does it most physically, and because of that, I think and my vision and my liking of computers, I was able to come up with cybersecurity.
Mhm.
How would you say that your personal passions align with your business?
Well, one of the things is like I'm passionate about me being so close to my family and my community. So and in family and the community, there's nothing is ever perfect. So you have to find solutions. You have to find a way to fix whatever issues that we might have. Whether it's a family, personal life, or community. So because of that, I'm able to apply that to my business, to the people, to my clients that I'm helping.
When we first met, Darwin, you weren't actually involved in this line of work. Um, do you have a story that actually led you down this path?
Yes. So I was always very curious. I was always have this entrepreneurial spirit on me, and ever since I was a little kid, I always look for ways to make money. And one of my early passions was soccer. I played. I was picked out of hundreds of thousand kids to be in the under 14 national team back in my country, and I always trying to look for ways to make money. Um, so because of that, this is what led me down to this path. This is what propelled me to do something, because I knew that I was never going to be able to work for a company. I had to have my own company, and able to not only help my family but also assist my community. So
Now, what happened to the soccer thing?
well, so back in my country, so I was picked and I was training, but then I had to come here. So, I was like 13 or something like that. So I had to get to this country because my paper was already in process. So I got to play a few games, but then I came to this country and I didn't like the way the United States plays, especially back in the early 90s. And then I found out that I could get a scholarship playing soccer, but it was my senior year. And Steve, trust me, I try. We came first in our region. We
Mhm.
came number 3 in the country, but I didn't get to play the nationals because that's what I knew that more colleges they were gonna see me, and I was for sure I was gonna get picked, but we didn't make it there. So then I knew I had to hit the books really hard. That was my plan B. Soccer didn't work. Plan B. So here I am now.
What
Excellent.
would you say some of the challenges that you faced and had to overcome?
So to me, I see challenges as part of life, right? If we don't have challenges, and especially for me, that's what drives me, right? Challenges are in everyday life. Even before I made it to this meeting, I had to. There was challenges, right? So if I didn't have them, I don't think I would be here. I don't think I'd be doing this. And to me, when I have challenges, when I see challenges, I actually welcome them, and I try not to look for a way to overcome them. So that's how I deal with them.
Now, were there any particular skills that you needed to really get your business off the ground?
Absolutely. One of them, it was because I actually didn't never work for a computer or in a technical field, but I was so curious that when I started to like taking computers apart, putting them together, and little by little I started learning about wiring. So funny enough, I was working for this company one day, and some of the guys that work for this other companies, they were, we were talking one day, and they were asking me, and I said, oh yeah, this is how you do it, this is how you do it. And they were taken away because I knew how to do it, and I knew what each piece was called. And one day they took me to their place, and then I actually went over there and helped them figure out the wires and connecting certain things, figure out how to certain things in a computer, and they were blown away. But my thing, my one of my biggest thing, it was because at school sometimes like my certification wasn't enough, the school wasn't enough. So I did the next best thing about a year and a half ago, which I went and took a course at MIT. So when I went to do network, especially before the pandemic, I was doing a lot of networking. Once I had my MIT, now, there can be no more excuse. I mean, I don't think there's ever any better school than MIT for technology. So now it's just, that's like one of the things that I said that I needed. It was just, okay, here we go. I have this now. What is your excuse?
Well, that's great. Going back to when you mentioned about soccer, I'm thinking about you could have been the next Pele. You know,
Oh,
It-
nah,
it-
not quite. Oh my God, funny. I watched his documentary. I've seen many of them. There's one on Netflix that I recently watched, and every time I see it, it's just amazing. And stuff like that drives me. This morning I watched one of Tiger Woods, stuff like that drives me. I like to watch the story.
That's what I was going to mention. Did you use some of that drive that you were in that sport in your business?
Absolutely. So what happened? I'm sure I'm barely 5'8", and playing soccer. I've always been like the underdog, and they never gave me the opportunity because they never believed it. Only my friends in my neighborhood knew that that I was always picked. But in back in my country, even playing for my high school, it was only the guys, the senior guys that get to play. And I used to go and see them train. And I used to go every day, every day, every day, until like one day somebody was missing, and they were like, "Okay, come and play." And I tell my kids this: as soon as I touched the ball, it was like, "All right, you in." And that's how I did it. Even in high school, when I played my senior year, it was the same story. They was like, no, the team is already picked. The team is, and I kept going and I kept going and I kept insisting the coach. And finally, he's like, okay, let me see what you have, and I play and made it to the team. So it's the same approach that I take for business, right? In my business, it's just like you got to keep trying, you got to keep going, you got to keep going, because the first door is not going to open. You're not going to get the first yes as soon as you make the first phone call or the first meeting. It's not going to happen. But in regards to that, one of the things that I have that I used to get very nervous, and sometimes I used to even take it personal. But I learned that this is business. It's not personal. It's only business. So when they tell you no, or they just hang up the phone, it's okay. Pick up the phone some other day, call somebody else, and keep going.
Excellent.
Darwin, I love the fact that you learn from everything. You've learned from soccer, you've learned from school, and you take those lessons and you apply them to your next thing. What would you say that you've learned, maybe some specifics from being a business owner?
Discipline. I think discipline is like, and I think we all struggle with that. And I have a routine in the morning. So for the first hour, my routine is I don't touch any device, any computer device at all. So what I do is I do meditation, I do yoga, and I try to read. And that discipline helps me to get ahead and start working. Because if I could do this every day, not touch any device in the mornings, then I could be more productive with my business. And I think that's something that I still struggle, but I know that discipline is like one of the things that you must have in order to have a business. Because from meetings, from phone calls, responding to people, and especially for me that I'm it's basically right now it's me. I had a guy before, but there's another guy coming in pretty soon to help me with my business. But you have to be disciplined, and sometimes you have to work long hours. Sometimes you don't get too much leave. So what's gonna drive you is that discipline. So this have to get done. So that's basically what I would say.
Now, as far as your goals, particularly your business goals, uh, what were they as far as you becoming a business owner?
So one of my goals, and I always said this, and I always had this, and and as funny as it might sound, sometimes even as a little kid, I always wanted to succeed, and no matter what it was in school, it was with education, it was with sports, it was anything that I tried. When it comes to sport, I was pretty good at pretty much everything. I tried tennis. I played tennis pretty well. I played basketball. I learned to shoot from far because I was too short, so I couldn't go in. So I even tried out to do 5K, and I happened to win a medal when my son didn't think we were going to win anything. So to me, in order to do that, I always wanted to win. So being a leader in this industry, being a leader here in my community, is one of the most important goals that I have. Just being a leader in this industry.
And do you feel that you're accomplishing the goals that you set out for yourself?
So far, for myself personally, I think I've accomplished everything that I set out to. And what I mean by that is because uh, I wanted it. I wanted my education. I wanted to have my business. I wanted to have my family. I wanted to own a home. Um, so those things are done, but that doesn't mean that I'm done, because now my business, I want to be a leader in my business. So the accomplishments that I wanted to have early in my career are pretty much, I accomplished them. However, in my business, I wanted to be a leader, so I still got more to do, and now it's just more work, because it's going to be a challenge.
Now, is there anything, Darwin, that you wish you had done sooner?
Absolutely. I always say this, and I stress it to my kids a lot. I said in my education, I wish I would have finished 10, 20 years ago. I think it was always important for me to have an education, and and I was tell my wife, I used to tell her this. I said if I didn't have an education, I wouldn't start my business. To me, that was number one. I mean, anybody could start a business without having education. There's no problem. But to me personally, it was my education first. So if it wasn't for my education, I probably wouldn't be here.
Good.
Has your business pivoted in any way?
Yes, and one of the things that I was discussing with somebody early last year. Um, the pandemic has showed us a lot of stuff, right? There's something that many of us have never experienced. This is new to everybody, and whether in whatever field that you were in, if you didn't recognize it and you didn't see it, where we're going to go, and if you didn't weren't prepared to pivot. For instance, my sister was having problems with work, because she had to work from home, and she couldn't get certain things done. And I said, but what are you stressing about? I said, why don't you call me? You know that I'm okay with computers. Just call me. Let me see what you have. And sure enough, she called me, and I was able to figure it out. And I was like, here you go. So so knowing that the pandemic taught us something new. Everybody, not only personally but in business, you have to pivot. And one of the things that I did was being able to be partners with Data, because now I couldn't go to people's offices, people's businesses, and I was able to still running without being there and doing everything remotely.
Now, in starting your business and especially we're talking about new business owners, is there any advice that you would like to give them?
Yes. So one of the things, of course, like I said before, is discipline, right? But being aware that what you want to do for yourself first, knowing that what you're getting into is a lot of work, and then you're going to have employees that you need to take care, and you're going to have also clients that you need to take care. And taking care of yourself, number one, allows you to take care of your employees, and then your employees will take care of your clients. So I think that being that discipline, and learning that the first is you, and then personally, and they taking care of your employees, so your employees could take care of your clients. I think that's the advice that I would give them.
Earlier you mentioned that you do reading in the morning. Is there any books that you would suggest other business owners actually read?
So one of the books that I'm reading is right now, and actually I read it before, but I usually I use it as a reminder, and I do it I should 10, 15, 20 minutes. Is The Seven Habits of Highly Effective People.
Mhm.
That's like one of the books that I read. But my favorite book is The Art of War. I actually have my son read it. He just finished it yesterday, the day before yesterday. He finished it, and I said, remember that we're gonna have to read it again one day, And so yeah. So Seven Habits of Highly Effective People. I think that's the book that I would recommend.
And that's good that you're having your children read. It's so important today because we find that a lot of business owners are not reading as they should. So that's a great tip.
Yeah, and I think the fact that you were talking about leadership and taking care of yourself and your customers and your team, I think that those are great examples of leadership. What would you say your plans are for the future, for your business?
So I have I have a goal, right? I want to do philanthropy. Um, always been so involved with my family, and I learned that that to take care of your family is like taking care of your community, because that's your first community, and I like my community. I really look at the issues that my community is facing. So I've always thought of doing philanthropy work. I actually, here in my office, where I have my office, there is a boxing institution. The gentleman helps out a lot of kids, and I already started doing philanthropy to them. Like to that was like my first goal. So again, just think about this, right? When you take care of yourself, when you take care of your employees take care of your clients. But as you doing all of this stuff, you taking care of your community, and taking care of your community is really important, because your community benefits, and if your community benefits, your business prosper, and everyone else prosper. And I think that's really, really important. I think philanthropy is one of the best things to do for your community.
Now, do you have any employees?
Like I said earlier, I had one before. He couldn't make it because school work. Still going to school. I have one coming at the end of the month. I have another gentleman coming, because I'm gonna start going to people's businesses to do certain things in their business. So I'm gonna have somebody else come in, and of course I wanted to get to 3 or 4 employees, but for now I have one coming pretty soon.
So you have some expansion ideas over the next 5 years.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
That's great.
Darwin, could you give me an example for maybe some of the lay people who don't really understand the details of um, cybersecurity and MSP, managed service provider? What would be like a situation where a client would contact you for your services?
So as we know, right, cybersecurity is everywhere, and you cannot escape it. I often say, we don't have a vaccine for that. There is no immunity. It doesn't matter how well you prepare, something is going to happen, and we just can't avoid it. But the only thing that we could do is be prepared, right? Be prepared and be vigilant, because now it's just not just one guy in one room or in a college dorm trying to do this. Now it's organizations. Now it's more organized. It is actually governments that are actually helping to create these people to go and exploit not only businesses, but infrastructure and government agencies, as we know. So just prepare them to be vigilant and to understand the importance of cybersecurity within your organization. And one of the things that I learned is us as managers, because sometimes even myself, sometimes we tend to forget to update certain things, to put things in place, because we're too busy. So having somebody to understand and training you to do the things that you need to put in place in order for your business to be more secure. And it could be anything from just password, from your router, from your printer, from your phones, your devices. All of these things could be penetrated, could be vulnerable to being hacked. And most importantly, it's for small business owners, because if business owners get hacked or get penetrated by any of these viruses, the impact could be costly, and it could really put them out of business. And now, and as an MSP, what I do is I only provide them solutions so they can manage their team. So certain people in certain departments will have access to certain things that they're supposed to have access to. Like for instance, the finance department to the finances, the accounting to the accounting, whoever people who checks your emails or your calendar have access to that. And of course, if you're the business owner, but you have access to all of that, and protecting your clients' information in data.
It
Now,
sounds
what?
like you give business owners peace of mind because they're wearing so many hats, and you give them a lot of peace of mind.
Well, and exactly, and that's what it is. And it's like you know, in the past, before we thought about cybersecurity as it is now, right? Sometimes we needed help to, as a business owner, you're gonna hire a accountant to do your taxes. The same way you're gonna hire a lawyer to do your legal stuff, right? The same way you might hire somebody to come in and do your maintenance for your building or your office. So all of this stuff is the same way. You hire somebody who has expertise on cybersecurity and MSP to take care of your IT needs.
Now, what do you do, Darwin, to actually get new business?
A lot of phone calls, a lot of phone calls, a lot of networking, and that's like one of the things that I did at the beginning of this. Try to get as much contacts as I can, and try to network, and always keeping in contact with certain people, even like people like you. Always keeping in contact, always send them an information, because it's important, and of course, there's always social media, right? There's certain stuff that I use, other stuff that I don't use, but I do a lot of cold calling. That's what I do the most.
Okay.
Yeah, it sounded like you were able to take a lot of the experience that you had in the past and your grit and your drive and, create something really amazing that's helping not only other businesses, but I admire your willingness to give back and help the community as well. It sounds like it's very rewarding for you.
You know, I every day that I drive from and to my office, I see, and I see the people, and I look, even in the highway, I look at my city, and I know what's going on, and and this is really important to me, and so just being part, just giving a little bit is just tremendous for me. It just makes me happy, even like now, like going to eat to a local restaurant is just, I know that I'm supporting my community, and that's just fascinating for me.
Now, how can our viewers get in touch with you, Darwin?
So two things. My website is evo23.com. Also, my office phone number is 203-612-4034. My cell phone number is 203-913-3211. And you could find me on social media on LinkedIn, Darwin Lara. You could also find me on Twitter. I'm always available, and I'm local. Sometimes you might see me walking downtown Bridgeport or in a local restaurant.
Mm-hmm. Have you connected with the Chamber of Commerce in the area?
I did. I sent them an email a couple of weeks ago, and they responded to me. So I'm in touch with them. I'm in touch with two of the industry. This week, late last week, Friday, or I believe Monday, I contacted some people in the city of Bridgeport. And I'm also in the process of taking a certification for getting government contracts.
That's fantastic.
I'm studying a lot now.
Yeah, the BRBC is a great resource as far as getting in touch with other businesses in the area. And Dan does a great job there as the president. You'll find him as a great resource also.
Yeah, I'm also in touch with the Connecticut Technology Council. They up in Hartford, I believe. I'm in contact with them. I'm part of their program. That's how I started networking with them.
Okay. Well, we'd like to thank you very much for joining us today.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
And we look forward to hearing some of your future successes.
Absolutely. Again, thank you, guys. Thank you, Steve.
Quite welcome. And once again, we thank you to our audience, and thank you for joining us at the SCORE Business Showcase. Thank you.
Thanks.